is the best that I can do in my present position, which is limited. I'm a teenager. I don't have all the experience, all the wisdom of the world. Or I'm a young professional, recently into my career. So my experiences are limited, but there is still something that you can do in these contexts. You can do the best under the circumstances. I think that's the way to put it. In whichever state you are, you can still do your best with respect to that particular stage in your life. Now, in order to do your best in the given circumstance, you must have a seeking mind. Now, human beings usually act and react in terms of their impulses and instincts. Now, for example, somebody provokes you, somebody says something casual and you get offended and you fly off the handle. Now, that's not the only way to react. In that context, even if you are a teenager, you can stop and ask, look, do I have to react in this manner? Or can I also deal with the situation in a different way so that something of the greatness, something of who I am can be communicated to this person? Even as a 10-year-old, 12-year-old, 13-year-old, you can do it. But you will do it only if you seek to do the best under the circumstances. Now the question is, and that's the second part of it. So first is to keep your eyes focused not only on the nitty-gritty of the given situation, but also to ask what is the best I can do under these circumstances. That's the one thing. The second thing is that you will not ask this question, what is the best I can do under the circumstances, unless and until you keep your mind also connected to something far above you. And that is where spirituality comes in. You know, we live not just as isolated individuals, we also live as individuals placed within a long and continuous tradition. Spiritual traditions are 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 years old. So over this long period of time, the accumulated experiences of the members of our species have created for us a world of light. And even as a little child, even as a little person or a teenager, you're able actually to take advantage of it. Now, you may not understand everything fully, but you can still understand something, as I did. I'm saying this from my experience. So, there is a great advantage to be derived from becoming aware of or staying aware of this great light that has been coming from the ancient of days and continually illumining human life. That light is available to me, that light is available to you. So, to be able to look at any given situation, not only in terms of what people are saying, not only in terms of what my instincts and impulses are dictating, but also in light of this wonderful resource continually available to me. That is a great experience. But unfortunately, most people, especially when young, fail to do this. You don't have to fail in that respect. So this is why human beings are given spiritual traditions. Now, I'm not an advocate for religion. I have to say this to you very clearly. Every religion contains within itself a tremendous blaze of light. And that's what I call its spiritual core. And that light is always relevant. No matter how much humanity progresses, that light never becomes irrelevant because that's the light of our humanity. So it's a tremendous resource to be used in specific contexts, provided we have this intuition of a very unique and valuable destiny which we are continually fulfilling through every step that we take, every decision that we arrived at, through the do's and don'ts that we respect, through what I do and what I do not do. So this is a discipline that I have found immensely worthwhile practicing. When you face a situation, any situation in life, for example, suppose you are a student, you are going into a lecture room, that the professor is about to take a class. How do you view that situation? You can look at it only in terms of the examination, or you can look at it in terms of what the classroom is like. There are some young people who think that they have to entertain the classroom through mischief. Now that's a very limited perception. You can also look at what's going to happen in the classroom in terms of your moving steadily towards a great destination that not only you, but eternity, destiny has designed for you. And that will give to your participation in the classroom transaction a meaning and a purpose that's incomparable. And I commend it to you. So 2 things. 1, do your best under the circumstances. Number 2, in order to do the best, also lift your imagination beyond the limited personal situation. Do not fail to derive advantage of the great spiritual light that continually flows into your life. And then when you put the 2 together, you're able to rise above the limitations of the given situation. That's how it is. Try it and see if it works. Thank you. Good morning and welcome back to our time together. I've come to enjoy this. I hope you too have. It's wonderful to be able to come together to think about life and to see what better sense we can make of it from day to day. Today, let's begin with an illustration that Jesus of Nazareth used to tell people that there are huge potentials and possibilities hidden in each one of us. He used the illustration of a mustard seed. Now he says the mustard seed is one of the least of the seeds in nature. Then he says, you should be like a mustard seed that falls down, sprouts, and becomes, he says, like a tree. There's a slight exaggeration. Sometimes when you create stories and illustrations, it's pardonable to illustrate a little bit, to exaggerate a little bit. He says, this tree then sends its branches unto the end of the world. And then he says, the birds of the air come and build their nests on it. You think of it. What a complete transformation. It began as a little seed, something that can hide itself on the palm of your hand. And then it becomes a tree that offers accommodation, shelter, refuge to the birds of the air. He says a human being is like this. And this actually is the best way to understand spirituality. Spirituality is exactly what enables you to grow in this manner. So, in a very, very simple sense, spirituality is outgrowing your self-centeredness and accepting the whole world as your responsibility. That's, to me, very exciting. Now, many people, if this particular dimension is not reckoned, live a very, very limited life. Their universe is as small as themselves. Everything contracts into their little narrow world. And there is no space for anyone or anything other than themselves in their narrow world. And I believe that's a rather pathetic way of living. And no human being should do this violence, this disservice to himself. And this is the reason why growing to our full potential is a sacred duty. I have to say this to you very clearly and candidly. To me, the excitement in spirituality is not that I go to heaven. I may or may not. But it certainly is my excitement that it is for me a continual challenge and an affectionate invitation to grow out of the pettiness of my being, to become like this mustard plant which sends its branches unto the end of the world, so that the birds of the air come and build their nests upon it. Now, the question is this, and many of you would ask, why should I do this? Why shouldn't I live like a little tiny mustard seed? Why should I go through this whole burden of assuming responsibility for others? Now, or for that matter, many people are skeptical about it. Is it really possible for me to do this? After all, who am I? And this is sometimes mistaken for humility also. Now, everything depends on the outlook with which you live from day to day. There are two contrasting outlooks. One is, what can I get today? What can I get from this situation, or this effort, or this institution, or this company? I used to live in Delhi, and it was very common in that city for people to throw parties. Who are the people normally invited? People in positions of power, and each party becomes dinner diplomacy. It's an investment in getting something out of somebody. Now, this is a very, very disappointing, narrow view of hospitality. The meaning of hospitality is that you have the inner freedom, the greatness, the generosity of the spirit to accept the other without any ulterior motive. You accept the other out of love, not out of expectations. So this is something that corrupts human nature. That is the mercenary outlook. If I relate to somebody, I must get something out of it. If I do something, if I stir a little finger, I must get something for it. I have found this to be a serious limitation that many people invite upon themselves. Rewards in life are not one-to-one. Rewards in life are not like a transaction in a shop. You go to a shop and you say, well, give me a kilogram of rice. And the shopkeeper says it costs you 40 rupees. So you take the rice, you give the money, 40 rupees, the transaction is over. Life is not like that. In life, you may have to pay the 40 rupees and not see that 1 kilogram of rice for a long time to come. But when that comes, and it will surely come, it may not be 1 kilogram of rice, it may be 10 kilograms, it may be 100 kilograms of rice, it may be 10 kilograms of gold, who knows? Now, this very, very precious and mysterious aspect of life, many people do not think about. So they slip into this kind of narrow transactional outlook, which insists that the rewards must be immediate. Now, this is what is called the getting mentality. Now, the worst embodiment of this getting mentality is the thief. Who is a thief? Anyone who insists that in order to take a step, there must be an immediate reward. The only thing about a thief is that he is roaming around only for his own benefit. It's a very common thing. We think that thieves are only at night. No, the society is full of thieves. If I relate to you only for what I can get out of you, I am a thief, pure and simple. People don't understand this. Now, this attitude degrades us, it cheapens us, it makes us very small people. And we cannot even respect ourselves, leave alone somebody else respecting us. Human greatness lies not in coveting things, snatching and hoarding things for ourselves, not in living for ourselves, but also growing towards others, or growing so that we can include others in the ambit of our life. Now, this is what we may call the giving life. Now, you look at nature, a plant in nature or a tree in nature grows in two different ways. For the early months and years, depending on which tree or plant it is, the plant or tree grows only for itself. But then comes a wonderful and beautiful moment. And at that moment, that the tree connects to us most beautifully. That tree begins to produce fruits. Now, what is fruit? Fruit is also growth. We say, grow a fruit tree. What does it mean? We are planting and taking care of a fruit tree in order to derive its fruit. So fruit is the product of the tree's growth, not for itself, but for others. And that's the beauty of life. Nature is continually telling us of the same thing. Now, this is the law of life. If you live for yourself, you die. You shrivel, you shrink, and you die. You must also grow in order to be relevant to the life and needs of others. Now, if this principle is not understood, then we have really no respect, no value in the eyes of others. A story is told of a cow and a pig. A pig went to God and complained, saying that it was being treated unfairly by everyone. He says, look, I give my everything. People make all kinds of good dishes out of my meat. My lard is used for cooking. Even my tail is pickled. But nobody has a good word to say about me. But look at this cow. Everybody praises the cow. There are people who even worship the cow. Now, pig said this is not fair. So God looked at the pig with a gentle smile and said, you know the difference between you and the cow? The difference is very simple. The cow gives whatever it gives when it is still alive. You can give something only after you are dead. Many people wait till they are dead and gone to part with something. But wise people not only give and share what they have, and this is most important, they look at their life from early stage as a continuous growth, so that over a period of time they gather the resources with which to enrich the lives of others. After all, my friends, the value that other people attach to us is only to the extent that we are responding to their needs. Human relevance is nothing but our ability to relate to the needs of others. Those who live for themselves are of no value to anyone. And the excitement and the exhilaration of growing up in order to respond to the needs of others, in order to make a difference for the better in the context in which one is, can be experienced right now when you're still very young. Because as I said, you always have this intuition that there is a personal destiny that connects you with your fellow human beings. When you read the lives of great men and women, you find that this is always at work, even when they were little. For example, if you read Mahatma Gandhi's autobiography, The Story of My Experiments with Truth, we know that from early days, when he was a 7-year-old child studying in a school in Porbandar, his school teacher tempted him or urged him to copy the spelling of a word, kettle, from the neighboring student, because the school teacher was very keen to impress the school inspector who had come on an inspection to the school. And he did not want the inspector of schools to go away with a bad impression about the school. So the teacher sort of urged Gandhi to copy the spellings that he did not know. He refused. Why? Because he had this intuition. Gandhiji refused the attempts of his own brother, his elder brother, to go into non-vegetarianism, because his brother had learned from somewhere that eating meat is a source of bravery and physical strength, and therefore he tried to persuade his younger brother Mohandas to eat meat. He refused. Gandhiji refused the medical advice to eat egg and to drink milk. Why? Because he had this great intuition that he was to play a role in later life. Now, that intuition comes to all of us, provided we are keen, or we are inclined, we are open to helping others. The secret of our growth, my friends, is the commitment to helping others. Now, let me close by asking you this question. Do you know that you can practice it at home? Do you know that you can be a helping presence to your in your home towards your parents? Do you know you can help your mother, your father? In a variety of ways. And this inclination, this concern for others is a very major energy for our growth and development. So if you shrink and shrivel, if you also have regard for others, your life will blossom into a mighty tree in which the birds of the air will build their nests. What a beautiful state it is. Try it out. Thank you. Good morning and welcome back to our series on taking care of our life when we are young. It's extremely important. I'm sure that by now we are together in this journey of discovering what is of immense consequence for us lifelong. Where I'm standing today, unseen by you but felt very acutely by me, there are mosquitoes. Now they're just waiting for an opportunity to pounce on me and to drink my blood. Therefore, it encourages me to reflect on the difference between being a mosquito and being a human being. I'm sure you're interested in this. Now, it's very simple. The mosquito's interest is strictly limited to what is good for itself. A mosquito cannot understand the difference between a Nobel laureate and a criminal. For the mosquito, it is blood, nothing but blood, and therefore the person does not matter. A small part of his being matters, which is blood. I remember a proverb in Malayalam which says that if a mosquito were to sit on the udder of a cow which is full of milk, it would still drink blood, not milk. Now this has made me think a lot, because I find this principle at work in human nature very often. There are people, and that includes young people unfortunately also, who cannot see anything good in a given context. Their eyes are focused always on something to grumble about, something that they don't dislike, but in the process lose sight of the many wonderful things that are available in the same context. As a result, they exclude themselves from the beauty and the great possibilities of life. Now this is something seriously hamper your growth and development. You're blossoming into a beautiful human being, in which I'm sure you're interested, and that's the reason why we're thinking on this together. Now, to become like a mosquito is to become blind to whatever is good and beautiful, whatever is positive and generous, and whatever is also of benefit and interest to others, even as you take care of your own interests, which you must. Now, if you, on the other hand, only look for your own immediate personal benefit, what happens is you will gradually sink into cynicism, and your inner life will be invaded by darkness. Now, I'll close on this. What is the difference between darkness and light? The function of light is to enable us to see everything that is around, particularly the beauty, the greatness, the glory of everything. This world is actually very beautiful. This world is full of goodness. The earth on which I stand is a huge treasure house of goodness. So Perlis Buck in one of her novels calls it the good earth. The earth is good. But when you look at the earth, can you see anything good in it? The farmer knows that there is a lot of goodness hidden in the earth. That's why he farms the land and produces food for you and me. If this light that enables you to see what is good in the world is not in us, then we can only see evil possibilities, negative possibilities, reasons to complain, reasons to be unhappy. And this cripples us and reduces us to paralytics. We can only sit and complain, but never do anything good. No, this will caricature, this will cripple, this will corrupt and kill your youth. Youth is a period of great energy, and that energy must be expressed in what is good and positive. Young people must be full of the enthusiasm, the passion, the zest for life. And that passion for life is actually light. The light that is within every human being. If that light is within us and we look at the world around, it becomes a great privilege to be alive. Now, I comment this very simple thought to you. We began with mosquitoes and ended in light. That itself is a very significant pattern. We don't have to stay stuck as mosquitoes. We can turn our faces, our minds, our total being to light and become the children of light. Young people as children of light is a great excitement. And that's the goal towards which we are slowly moving. Thank you for staying with me in this journey. See you soon next time.